harnessing the power of word of mouth, and word of mouth advertising in particular. In our experience, businesses in this region are suffering. They're struggling to find a certain kind of customer, a certain kind of team member. And in fact, probably what we're looking for are fit-looking people. Yeah, we're looking for people of a certain kind. Probably the ladies in the room will appreciate the photograph. Fit-looking, fit-thinking, forward-thinking customers and team members who are switched on, forward-thinking customers who are prepared to pay a premium price for the services that we give them. Yeah? What are we getting? We're getting this type though. We're getting the flabby customers, aren't we? Yeah? Or the flabby team members who are slow, they don't think things, they're not proactive, they're not looking forward to drive things forward. If the customers that are flabby, they're slow in paying. Yeah? So there's a real challenge about finding the right kind of people in whichever caption you're looking for at the minute. And the challenge is made even more acute because we've got competition from absolutely everywhere at the minute, including quite possibly nuns. If you look at that expression and the way she's intently staring at the computer screen, I dread to think what was actually on the screen at the time that that photograph was taken, but potentially we could be up against people like that. It hurts, doesn't it? Yeah, as our footballing friend here has discovered, it really does hurt, because most people can't attract and can't find the right type of customers. Huh? Now, there's a number of reactions that we can do to all of that competition. One of which is like our friends here flying this plane, which is to completely ignore what's about to hit them and sail on blindly, just not noticing what's going on around them. Now, that's none of you, because otherwise you wouldn't be here this morning, obviously. Yeah? But we could do this. Yeah? For those of you, I've used that several times by now, but most of you in the room have probably seen that, some of you haven't. But we could stick our head in a deep dark place and just pretend that it's not going on. Yeah? Still wonder how that's been done, but anyway. That's not particularly a place I'd like to do. Well, the third response is actually to get angry. I think every computer keyboard ought to have this. And apologies if you're offended by the language. But that should be particularly appropriate when Microsoft release new software. Yeah? Never ever jump to the latest release of a Microsoft product, wait for at least Service Pack 1 and probably Service Pack 2, because that's really what the product should have been when they released it. But we get angry. We can get angry about what's going on. But there has to be a better way, doesn't there? Yeah, and that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at the power of word of mouth advertising, or in accountancy speak, referrals. Referrals is an easier tag. That's what we call them in our world. I think that's what most people call them. But, you know, how can you get other people to introduce you to their contacts so that you can do business with them? The power of referrals. It's a shorter label and it's convenient. And if we look at the maths, okay, now you can start reading the notes if you want to. If you look at the maths, then actually it's quite staggering. Who in this room has got set themselves a growth target? Hands up. Who's got a growth target in percentage terms? Bill, what's yours?
100%.
100%, yeah. We're not quite at 100%. We've set ourselves 10% per annum going forward over the next 10 years. Okay. Who wants 50% growth? No one? Yeah, Neil wants one. Yeah, who wants, yeah? 50% growth good enough? Maybe not for Bill because he wants 100. Well, it's dead easy to do it. Yeah, how do you do it? Well, let's work the maths. If, on average, you could get all your existing customers to refer one person that they know to you, and you manage to convert half of them so that they come from a lead, from a referral, into a paying customer, you've miraculously increased your business by 50%. It's not hard, is it? Maths isn't hard. Okay, maybe doing this might be harder, but that's what today's about. The maths is right, trust me, I'm an accountant, for once I can add up. If you look at that in a wider context, and we look at it over a 5-year period, then we're down here on the bottom line. If you had 100 customers today, and you grow at 50% every year for the next 5 years, at the end of 5 years, you'll have 759 customers. Wow. Okay, we've set ourselves, as McKellens, we've set ourselves the 10% thing. So you might say, well, not every customer's going to give me one referral every year. Well, okay, let's say that you get 1 in 5 give you one, 20%. And then you convert half of those, so you end up with a 10% growth per annum, which is what we're targeting. Then in 5 years' time, you'll have 161 customers. Your business increases by 161% over a 5-year period. I'll settle for that, thank you. And you can see the different tabulations in there. So if we do this consistently, if we do this in a systematic way, we can make a significant difference to the size of our businesses, to the types of customers that we get, if that's what we're about. And because you're here this morning, I think that is what you're about. So hopefully I've now made the case for you having to suffer me for the rest of the morning, or until 9:25 anyway, going through the different principles and the different ways in which we can actually do this. And I'm going to show you what we call 4 power principles. The power principles of referral marketing. And principle number 1 is this: if you want more referrals, you have to simply increase the number of times you ask, the number of referrals you ask for, and the number of times that the people you're asking rise to the challenge. Multiply those three things together, and that's your number of referrals that you're going to get. So let's sort of unpack some of these. Let's have a look at the first one. The number of times you ask for referrals. And this is probably where most businesses, and certainly most accountants, fall down on straight away. Yeah? Because what they really do is they ask once. In the lifetime of having a customer who comes back and keeps buying from you, they maybe ask them once in the whole relationship. And that's just not enough. Asking once isn't enough. Asking 2 or 3 times isn't enough. You have to do it continuously. Think about all of the touch points when you get a customer. When would it be, when is it appropriate to actually ask for referrals from that customer? When you've just won. What about that? You've just won a customer. Why? Well, they've just done some due diligence on you. They think that you're the best supplier for them. So if they think you're the best, why not ask them, who else do they know in business that they think would benefit from dealing with us as well? What about when you've done a great piece of work? Yeah? And you've got an absolutely raving fan saying, really fantastic, absolutely, thank you. I'm expecting one to be coming from here in a minute. From David. Fantastic piece of work for us. Actually, we've probably been referring quite a few people to you as we've been going along anyway, but when you've done a really, really fantastic piece of work, they're absolutely delighted, ask there and then. Because they're more likely to say yes. Remember what it was like, either when you had small children, or when you were a small child and you desperately wanted something. What did you do? Please mum, please dad, please mum, please dad, and eventually they went, oh, go on then. Now, in the business context, we haven't got to be that pain. Okay, and actually, one of the reasons why I've got my largest turnover client is because the previous firm, who aren't a million miles from here, continuously asked them for referrals, and it really ticked off the MD. He got really, really upset about it. So you've got to do it in a sensible way and in a sensitive way, and be aware of the people that you're asking for. But if you keep on plugging away and you keep on going and asking and asking and asking, most people eventually go, oh, go on then, I'll give it a try, or yes, you can. So that's about asking the number of times. The number of referrals you ask for. Indisputable fact, if I ask you to provide me with 1 referral, what are the 2 possible outcomes that I'm going to get from you? 0 or 1. Absolutely. If I ask you for 3 referrals, what are the possible outcomes?
No, or 2 or 3.
Absolutely right. So I'm no worse off asking for 3 than I was for asking for 1. In fact, I'm going to be better off. On average, people generally will provide more than 1 name. Not everybody, but on average. But it's no good stumbling through the process with a poor script or an ill-prepared script or no script at all. You have to know what you're going to say. And later on, actually, I've got some fabulous guidance from a guy called Peter Thompson, Business Guru, to hand out to you with some good scripts in there. And it's really, really powerful. And we'll touch on some of that during the rest of the morning. But we've done research within the accountancy marketplace, and actually one of the reasons why accountants are so poor at getting referrals is that they think that they've asked for them, and most of their clients think, no, I've never been asked to provide a referral because the request has been so limp-wristed, it's been completely ineffectual. It's been the usual shuffling papers at the end of the meeting. Well, I don't suppose you know anybody, do you? No, I didn't think so. And the accountant thinks he's asked for a referral, yeah, and the client's going like, oh, just bumbling, you know. What was that? So you've got to be clear. So that's power principle 1. If you want more referrals, ask more times, increase the number you ask for, and increase the number of people, or the number of times that they rise to that challenge. Moving on to power principle 2, and this is one that actually staggers me that people don't do this. Absolutely astonishes me. If you want people to talk about you, you've got to give them something to talk about. You've got to give them a story. You have to give them something so that they will go and be a raving fan. Yeah? It's fundamental, isn't it? Because if you haven't got anything to give them as a story, how can they talk about you? They've got nothing to say. Oh yeah, my accountant's really good, he's really boring, just sits in the corner and bills me once a year. Yeah, it doesn't work, does it? Would you want to go to that person? What is it? People tell stories about Disney and Disneyland, don't they? Yeah, they can bore to death on Disneyland. If it's not where you want to be, then you might be bored. But a lot of people, that works. Oh, that was fantastic. Oh, you've been there. Oh, actually, well, yeah, we're similar to you. We might like to go and do that. We might like to go and visit that place, stay at that hotel, go to that restaurant, use that supplier. So if you want people to talk about you, then give them something to talk about. And they tend to talk about service. Giving sensational service, absolutely fantastic. Why? Because if you're not, that means you're giving satisfactory service. The top one and the bottom one get talked about, the middle one doesn't. If you're just giving satisfactory service to your customers, why would they talk about you to other people that you might want to get introduced to? Yeah? Some of the other ones that I've either come across or have read about, never been to America, so I don't know whether I've read about this one. Apparently there's a taxi firm in New York that when you get in, will ask you what kind of music you like to listen to. And they have a whole selection of music and say, well, therefore we'll put on the appropriate music. More than that though, and it's like when you get in a London black cab, either here or in London, the taxi driver will ask you whether you want to chat with him as you're going along and what subjects you'd like to talk about. And they employ incredibly erudite people who will then engage you in a conversation on the topic of your choice. Or, if you want them to keep quiet, they'll shut up. Wow, yeah, I'd go with them every time if I was having to get a taxi. Coming back to the UK, but also French supermarkets do this. UK supermarkets have started to pick up on it, but I remember it particularly when it was Centre Parks. It dates me a little bit. One of the highlights, going on children's holidays, taking the kids into the supermarket to do the food shopping, the kids having their own little shopping trolley of their own, yeah, with a flag on so you can see where they are, so that they can go round and stuff it full of it. And you always notice that when they do that, they put the crisps and the chocolate low down, just at eye level of the kids when they go around, so they can load up. Because by the time you get to the till, there's no way you're going to go, oh, you can't have that. And kids think shopping's a wonderful experience. Mum and Dad think shopping's a wonderful experience because the kids are happy when they've got to do the basics of the supermarket shop.